Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Are we good?
Good.
Am I looking nice? Is Kirsty looking nice? Right, we're good, we can go?
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome. This is The Naked Truth, a show all about sex, sexuality, and health. And today we are touching on a health aspect, which is nutrition. I'm not alone. I am here with Kirsty Baxter, who is a qualified nutritionist. Not only is she qualified, she is registered in the United Kingdom, guys. She studied at the Institute of Optimum Nutrition in Richmond, UK, and she's been practicing for about 4.5 years. So you might need to take a listen. She's gonna help you with your health so you can feel good before things, happen. Kirsty, welcome to The Naked Truth.
Thanks, my love. Lovely to
You got
be
a
here.
beautiful smile. I'm just like, look at that smile. Right, so Kirsty, we're talking about nutrition. I'm just gonna put these cards away because my head is just like full of questions. So tell us a little bit about what being a nutritionist is all about.
Thank you so much. So for me, as a practicing nutritionist, it's really about health in total.
Okay.
So it's not really just about a specific diet. It's really about optimizing your health. I'm part of functional medicine, so we look at a number of different aspects and inputs into the body, from the environment you live in, where you work, the food that goes into your body, your medical history. So we really get a holistic picture of all the inputs that are making you who you are. So that's why it's quite important.
All right, so with what you've just described in terms of being healthy sexually, what are some of the questions or the consultations that you have dealt with concerning sex and nutrition?
Really, it goes back to the healthy lifestyle. So where we don't necessarily pinpoint certain aspects that are potentially not functioning, we look holistically at what the person is doing with their health, because these all play into our various aspects of sexual health, virility, whether we can fall pregnant, those kinds of things. So really, it's a holistic picture of their health.
Yeah.
So when I see someone, we will look at and look at things particularly relevant in Zimbabwe are things of overweightedness, hypertension, and diabetes. And these conditions will have an effect on how we're feeling. Firstly, how we're feeling about ourselves. For women particularly, weight is really an emotional aspect, as is their sexual encounter. And then on top of that, the functioning of that, particularly for men, it's really also making sure that they are optimally healthy to function properly. So when you're overweight or you have hypertension or diabetes, these sorts of conditions will affect how you are sexually.
I like the fact that you mentioned to function properly. I'm going to give you a scenario, but these are it's two stories, but one story.
Sure.
So there's a couple, and they're about to do the do, and they foreplay and everything is wonderful. And then during the sexual act, the woman's face is like, okay, anytime now, like, I'm not feeling anything, right? Same couple, the man is really into it, but it's not working.
Okay.
Is it a health nutrition issue, or it's now something all to do with the mind?
Look, it can be multifactorial. So definitely we know how emotions are linked to our state of mind. In that instance, there may have been symptoms that the woman was experiencing that are making it unpleasant. Things like vaginal dryness. And for the man, maybe he can't get his erection. So it's not just looking at that scenario. So what were the conditions before that? Was there excess alcohol? Are there issues that were underlying emotionally that are affecting the girl in that scenario? And then also, are there any factors within her either her weight or in her health that are also impacting on her not really enjoying the experience? So it's a number of different factors.
So are there foods that we can take? Because I've tried everything. So after giving birth to my second child, I have 2 kids. After giving birth to my daughter, I had a little bit of an issue down there. And it was an issue where I was like so embarrassed to be intimate with my then husband, ex-husband now. But, you know, it was an issue where I couldn't become intimate confidently. Before, ooh, girl, I was there and, you know, strip shows and everything. But then I got to a point where I did not want to get sexually intimate with him. So I would fake a headache. I would, you know, do all sorts of things because I suffered through like some serious vaginal discharges, and they smelled, it was bad. And then someone told me, get a pineapple.
Okay.
And I did. And I was like, how am I going to use this pineapple? So what do? Dr. Google. I, you know, went and inquired, had a consultation with Dr. Google, and Dr. Google told me, eat pineapples 24/7, 365, every day of the week, and you'll be good, baby. Soak the peels from the pineapple and drink the water. Put the pineapples in your bath water, and your vagina will be smelling like pineapples. And I did, Kirsty. It worked, I think, because I was now a little bit more confident. I was okay. I was good. So based on that, the food that we eat, does it really affect how we function, how our sexual organs then function?
Yeah, let's take a step back. Good question, because these sorts of things, and I work so beautifully with a lot of the doctors in Harare and around Zimbabwe. But my biggest adversary is actually Dr. Google, because you know it's an instant access of a multiple array of information,
That's right.
and unfortunately, coincided with that is misinformation. So I am evidence-based, and the pineapple myth, which I've recently been alluded to, is just that, because at the moment there is no substantial research to back it up. However, I'm not dissing what you've said.
Okay.
One of the things that you were doing right was you were going to basic hygiene, particularly for women in the lower nether regions. So basic hygiene is very good. So symptomatic post-pregnancy, there are often conditions of discharge, or candida can arise based on too many calories in the diet post-giving birth, because that's what you were used to. So those hormonal disruptions can occur.
Okay.
It's natural, so they can be fixed by going to the doctor and getting put on an antibiotic. So they're not there for good. But the other side of it, dietary-wise, is you then need to, I would skew the diet where we would lower the amount of carbohydrates so that we can get that candida, the yeast overgrowth, reduced, because that candida growth is likes a high carbohydrate diet and would keep making it worse. On the flip side of that is, besides being no evidence for the pineapple, the thing that wouldn't have been good for you is fruit is just sugar, and pineapple is no different. Something beautiful within pineapple, which is good for the stomach, are digestive enzymes. So in fact, as a personal,
my digestion.
It could have, because as a personal I train, and one of the things we do to give you a boost before training and supply your muscles with glycogen is have a small portion of pineapple, so the enzymes in that, as well as the sugar, is good for that. However, for you on the candida overgrowth, that would have actually exacerbated it. But it's interesting because there are a lot of psychosomatic, and the psychosomatic relates to our connotation that is linked to what a food can do. And a typical one for women actually is chocolate. So we think when we have our periods and we're not feeling good and we're feeling quite low, our go-to is often chocolate, not only for the sugar, but because the brain says that makes me feel good. So there's that psychosomatic link. And for you, you were convinced by what you read on the internet that this has to work for me. And so you went through the routine.
Was like, I really need to. I cannot continue.
And had you done that probably for a week, it would have really made the candida that much worse. So I'm sure you were quite smart. You just did it the once and you felt better, because it then helped the brain to say,
no, it did.
I can, this is getting better. So there are those kinds of links. There are very few foods that will give you a direct boost. Now, we do know that some foods will give you different body odors, where if you eat asparagus, you will have that smell in your urine because of the typical types of polyphenols that are in there, that's what they do. Garlic, another one that we can smell it right through the skin.
So why not for pineapple?
Because I haven't found the research to substantiate.
Please
so
find
I
it
will
first,
keep on the
there's
research.
a lot of women who are chopping that pineapple and saying, I'm going to be smelling
So what
sweet.
I would rather say to girls who are suffering with that is, you need to, obviously, ideally come to see me, but if you can't, reduce the amount of carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates in your diet. And I'm not saying that sadza is bad, because I like the roughness and the coarseness of sadza here.
Right.
It's about the portion, because we do need carbohydrates.
Okay, so what's
in
the
our
proper
diet. So
portion?
for most girls and men even, it's the size of your fist. That should suffice.
Kirsty, when you have your sadza, let me just take you back to that. When you have your sadza, what do you have it with?
Well, ideally, you want to have a carbohydrate with a protein.
Okay.
So with a portion of nyama, a portion of protein, and I know there's the muriwa that goes with it. Now, all of this meal is fairly healthy, but what's not so healthy is the high amount of salt, which is contributing in Harare, in Zimbabwe, to the hypertension, and the high amount of sunflower oil, the saturated fats.
All right, so here you are telling sadza lovers, sadza eaters out there that their portion should be fist size, right? So they've got their fist size portion of sadza here, and then the nyama is roasted nice, you know, and I still have to have that portion of sadza.
So how do you mean roasted nice?
Isn't it like it's fried? It's got the onion and the tomatoes and its name.
So I'm just saying, I don't take away things. I'm just trying to help educate in that perhaps we don't need quite so much oil.
Okay.
We don't need quite so much salt. Obviously, for 6-foot guys, they're going to need probably 2 fists of sadza. But for a girl like you and I, a fist of sadza really should suffice with a portion of green veg and with your protein.
All right. And then in terms of the men's sexual health, especially with erectile dysfunction or the function thereof, what is it that happens with men in terms of not being able to perform?
Okay, so that then would get referred more across to a doctor, where they would look to possibly look at the urinary, so seeing a urologist to see if there are any things. Is the PSA level too high? Is the bladder working properly? All of these, you know, where are their testosterone levels? These affect erectile dysfunction. But on the other side of that, from a dietary, or what we're doing in our diet, is excess alcohol does not actually help with erectile dysfunction. It would make it much worse. So initially, alcohol is lovely, as a glass would help relax one's persona. But when you're starting to go into excess, that's going to start to affect the functioning of the penis, because it's also about blood flow. Where alcohol is really, it's a toxin that gets detoxed in the liver, and too much of it in excess will then start to dampen the effects of how the body functions. So that's a big one. And I've seen a lot of it with young people in Zimbabwe recently, where they're going out on a weekend, both girls and boys, and they drinking a bottle of wine and 5 whiskey, as they read on Dr. Google, is a healthy alcohol. It's not. It's still alcohol. It's 40% of, you know. So it's really about making sure you're not doing that in excess, because initially you're not inhibited and you're feeling great, but actually down the line, when you get to want to have that romantic session, you're correct. You're going to have some issues. So there are a couple of nutrients that are important for men in terms of testicular health, which means getting lots of good sources of zinc, whether they supplement or from the diet.
Right.
We're a landlocked country, so we don't have access to beautiful fish, where oysters are very well associated with being an aphrodisiac, because they're very high in zinc.
All right. On that point, so would you say there's certain foods that can help with the penis growth for a man, or not really?
Not necessarily with growth, possibly with helping. So again, back to being healthy weight, with healthy blood sugars, with healthy blood pressure, is going to have a big impact on that erectile function, and not specifically food. And that's where men often will go to a doctor to get certain products like a Viagra, which would help them.
Viagra. All right, Kirsty, so just a quick rundown. What is it that should be in our diet? Like a holistic approach, a balanced diet. Give it to us, for both men and women.
So they're not different for men or for women.
Okay.
Obviously, there's some things for women hormonally that we need a few extra nutrients, like folate is very good for women, particularly if they want to fall pregnant. But in terms of a balanced diet, a good clean portion of protein. So this is where I'm saying maybe using less oil when frying, and if you can, ever roast it or grill it as opposed to fry it in deep fried oil. Not eating the fat, the white fat on the meat. And I know I'm told this is the best part.
It is.
The skin on the chicken.
Yummy.
So we want to keep our saturated fats lower. We only need about 20% of our diet from fats. And I know a big one here is peanut butter. So, and nuts, those are, particularly peanuts, are very high in fats. So your portion should be 1 to 2 teaspoons of peanut butter or a handful of nuts, not 100 grams of nuts. Balancing that, so that's your fat component. And remember, there are fats in different things, from your milk, your cheese, mohewu, you know, all the, so those are beautiful products. It's about portion. So that's your fat side. The carbohydrate side, like I touched on, what we want to do is eat more carbohydrates which are high in fiber, and from our beautiful soils here, sweet potato, butternut, pumpkin. You can do your sadza, and like I say, the Zimbabwe sadza is lovely, it's coarse. You can also do your munga and your sorghums, those are beautiful. You want whole grains in your diet. And then you want your protein, your clean protein. So your chicken, a lot of people are eating soy now. And the sad part about soy is it's really hard to cook because it's a dry chunk, which I know I've actually did a talk to try and help people prepare the soya better, so that it's not fried in oil and then recooked in a pan with more oil. So trying to cook that soya in a healthier, boiling it. And then also eggs are a beautiful source of protein. Okay, and they come with 5 grams of fat in the yolk. And they're also a very affordable protein, as well as fish. Fish is beautiful. We don't get a lot of it here. Out of the dams, obviously, in the rivers, we're getting beautiful bream. So if that could be, I know it's traditionally either stewed or can be grilled or fried, so that we're getting a good source of clean protein. Good sources of high fiber carbohydrates, where we're trying to have less saturated fats and refined carbohydrates, pies, chips, chicken in. I don't want to. Sorry.
There goes Kirsty messing up lunch for us, because we were going to have like proper sadza and...
I want the sadza, but I want it with a clean portion of protein. And then your green vegetables, and this for both men and women, particularly on a healthy and the virulent side, you want your green leafy vegetables, beautiful, kale, spinach, muriwa, broccoli, collie, all the beautiful green beans that we fry. And then a big component here as well is, and a lot of people are going plant-based, maybe not so much vegetarian, but there are a wide range of dried beans, legumes, of Nemo and sugar beans. These, again, you need to watch your portions, because these are incomplete proteins, but are also very carbohydrate dense. Wow. So really a healthy diet is about balancing that. It's not about saying you can't have sadza and you may not have...
I already have a headache just thinking about it. So Kirsty is just saying, so that you can have like a healthy lifestyle in the bedroom. This is all about sex and nutrition. Stay right with us. We'll be right back. It is the Naked Truth Show. Welcome back. We talk sex, sexuality, and health. With me is Kirsty Baxter, who is a nutritionist, because we're talking sex and nutrition. Now, Kirsty, are there foods that can assist us with fertility, libido, stamina, and sperm health? Because tine mazondo. We've got the mazondo. They're full in our fridges there. Because when the man comes home and he's like, mazondo, because we've been told.
Sure.
It helps with that aspect of things. And then we've got peanuts soaked in water that we as the women are drinking all the time to tighten the vagina.
Okay.
Are we okay? What are we doing?
So I respect the cultural aspect that is so intrinsic to the local people here.
Right.
There is no Western evidence to back up what they're saying. However, when I look at those kinds of foods, they are so mutumbu and the other one you mentioned,
The mazondo.
mazondos.
Right.
Those are actually high in iron and vitamin B12 and zinc. So those are possibly why they would actually help.
Because you did mention that zinc is needed.
Yes, in the testes, but so is iron, very important. And those organ meats we know are high in iron levels. So it could be that boost in the iron levels that are going to then help, as I said, once again, a little bit psychosomatically, but as well as physiologically. For women and the peanuts in the water, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because they're then having enough hydration. That's one of the things I touch on as well often, or with each client, is how much water they're drinking. And often they're not drinking enough water. So potentially by soaking the nuts and drinking the water, they're actually increasing their water consumption. And we know as women, and men, we made up of 50 to 55% water. So that's why it's important to mucus health. Okay, so that could be one of the reasons why.
Okay, and then in terms of like vaginal dryness, what foods can a woman take? Because you know when it's dry and then maybe the foreplay hasn't been so good and the vagina is not wet enough to receive.
It's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
So there are no foods that are linked to that. That's where they have the gels that are rather used instead. That the doctor would put you can get at a chemist. A gel would be used.
Oh, okay.
So we would look at a number of different aspects related to what is going on a hormonal level, and then be able to assess that to see whether are they perimenopausal, that is a result of the dryness. And if it's at a younger age, let's see what they're doing. I would actually assess nutritionally where they're going wrong, but I couldn't say off the top of my head right now there's a particular food they must take. So it's really looking again at that whole health scenario and making sure that's in play and what is happening on a hormonal level, and we can influence that.
All right. So Christy, if someone is looking for you, like they're watching right now and they're just like, you know what, I need to have a sit down with this woman because I'm just doing it all wrong. I'm eating everything with a little bit more oil than normal. I'm soaking in pineapple. Where can they find you?
Thank you so much. My passion is really to help and educate people. So I would love it if I could see this program could reach more people. My practice is based at Queen of Hearts in Highlands, and they can reach me. I have a Facebook handle and an Instagram handle. So under Kirsty Baxter Nutrition on both Facebook and Instagram. And I'd love to see more people. My aim is to really try and get to as many people as possible because this is my passion. And as I alluded to earlier, I turned 50 this year, and really I don't feel 50.
You don't
it's
look
because
50.
I think I do look 50, but
Where?
because it's really about an overall health and looking after your health and finding what works for you.
Right. All right, so you heard from Kirsty Baxter and where to find her. We will have the information on the screen. But today we just wanted to let you know that you can have a good relationship with your food and still be healthy so that you can, go and please your partner. Remember to comment, like, and share, and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is The Naked Truth Show. And also information where you can get help on today's episode and topic and any other topic that we'll be discussing. Information will be on the screen. Until next time, go and eat healthy. Like what I'm about to go and do now. So it means no sadza for me today. Bye, guys.
Doesn't mean no sadza.
Oh,
it's a smaller portion.
Okay, that's smaller portion, but I'm like so into my sadza and the roast stuff. Yeah, but no, this was good. This was good. I learned. I learned a lot, so I'm going to just drink more water now.
Yeah, and if you're having those hormonal surges where you're having your candida and things, just bring the sugary parts of your diet back a little bit.
you.